I am so excited to be chatting this morning with you around lesson 13, A Course in Miracles. We are moving into this 13th lesson on the heels of obviously 12 lessons preceding this one, which I will read through with you. So let me go ahead and do that now. I like doing this. They're short enough that reading them in advance really does help build up to the crescendo of each day's lesson. So Lesson 1, nothing I see in this room means anything. Lesson 2, I have given everything I see in this room all the meaning that it has for me. Lesson 3, I do not understand anything I see in this room. Lesson 4, these thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room. Lesson 5, I am never upset for the reason I think. Lesson 6, I am upset because I see something that is not there. Lesson 7, I see only the past. Lesson 8, my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. Lesson 9, I see nothing as it is now. Lesson 10, my thoughts do not mean anything. Lesson 11, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Lesson 12, I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Now let's go ahead and jump into lesson 13. I am in St. Louis visiting a client where they're fractional chief marketing officer. So I'm here visiting them, and I don't have my physical book because it's so big. So I'm looking at these online. Lesson 13, a meaningless world engenders fear. Today's idea is really another form of the preceding one, except that it is more specific as to the emotion aroused. Actually, a meaningless world is impossible. Nothing without meaning exists. However, it does not follow that you will think you perceive something that has no meaning. On the contrary, you will be likely on the contrary, you will be particularly likely to think you do perceive it. Recognition of meaninglessness arouses intense anxiety in all the separated ones. It represents a situation in which God and the ego challenge each other as to whose meaning is to be written in the empty space that meaninglessness provides. The ego rushes in frantically to establish its own ideas there, fearful that the void may be otherwise used to demonstrate its own impotence and unreality. And on this alone, it is correct. It is essential, therefore, that you learn to recognize the meaninglessness and accept it without fear. If you are fearful, it is certain that you will endow the world with attributes that it does not possess and crowd it with images that do not exist. To the ego, illusions are safety devices, as they must also be to you who equate yourself with the ego. The exercises for today should be done about 3 to 4 times for not more than a minute or so at the most each time. Each are to be practiced in a somewhat different way from the preceding ones. With eyes closed, repeat today's ideas slowly to yourself. Then open your eyes and look about you, slowly saying, I am looking at a meaningless world. Repeat this statement to yourself as you look about. Then close your eyes and conclude with, a meaningless world engenders fear because I think I am in competition with God. You may find it difficult to avoid resistance in one form or another to this concluding statement. Whatever form such resistance may take, remind yourself that you are really afraid of such a thought because of the vengeance of the enemy. You are not expected to believe this statement at this point and will probably dismiss it as preposterous. Note carefully, however, any signs of overt or covert fear which may arouse. This is our first attempt at stating an explicit cause and effect relationship of a kind which you are very inexperienced in recognizing. Do not dwell on the concluding statement and try not even to think of it except during the practice periods. That will suffice at the present. Wow. Well, I just want to take a quick moment. Good morning to friends on YouTube. I'm live on across a couple of different channels, but good morning, Brian, Harry, Jose. Thank you so much for joining. This lesson, I paused right at the beginning because there was a line here that really meant a lot to me. And so I'm actually going to read the first 2 paragraphs one more time because This is so, so important. So, lesson 13, a meaningless world engenders fear. Today's idea is really another form of the preceding one, except that it is more specific as to the emotion aroused. Actually, a meaningless world is impossible. Nothing without meaning exists. However, it does not follow that you will not think you perceive something that has no meaning. On the contrary, you will be particularly likely to think you do perceive it. Recognition of meaninglessness arouses intense anxiety in all the separated ones. It represents a situation in which God and the ego challenge each other as to whose meaning will be written on the empty spaces that meaninglessness provides. The ego rushes in frantically to establish its own ideas there, fearful that the void may otherwise be used to demonstrate its own impotence and unreality. On this alone, it is correct. Man, I love this one. This is the first lesson where it talks about ego. And it kind of adds context as to why meaninglessness is so important for us to address, because the meaning that God would assign something versus the meaning that ego assigns, ego is rooted in fear, whereas God is rooted in love. And so if we want to be approaching the world from a posture of love, it begs us to then come and say, okay, God, how would you view this situation? How do you view the world? What are your eyes? What is your lens? Putting on the lens of love changes the landscape, changes what we see, changes our very own ability to perceive, because as we look at the world with love, we move from a posture of perception to one of knowledge, because we're learning from the author. We're learning from the one who created it all in the first place. And so to look at the world through his eyes, it informs and changes our thoughts and our mind. And then it also changes and informs the way we show up, our actions. I like to think of the information processing system, the inputs, the processing system inside, and then the outputs. If love is the input, then that is what changes then our thoughts, our mindsets, our beliefs, and the lens through which we view the world. And then that informs our outputs. So then the question becomes, what's our input? Is it the input of ego, fear, or is it the input of God, love? And so I just want to leave with that thought. We're just going to keep today's lesson short. This lesson, I just want to repeat what the exercise is going to be, because I'm actually going to put it in my phone and set my alarm 3 times today. It says, the exercises for today, which should be done about 3 to 4 times, not more than a minute, should be practiced a little bit different from the preceding 12. With eyes closed, repeat today's idea to yourself. Then open your eyes and look about you, slowly saying, I'm looking at a meaningless world. And then we repeat the statement for today. A meaningless world engenders fear because I think I am in competition with God. And so we get to choose whose team we're on today. And so are we on the team of love, or are we on the team of fear? With that, Harry, Adam, Brian, thank you all so much for joining me today. Phil, Jasper, Jason, Lorenzo, thank you all so much for coming on here. I really love today's lesson, and I'm going to go set my alarm now so that I can repeat this idea to myself multiple times, because I want more love in my life. So with that, have a wonderful day, and I will see you tonight on The Knowing Show. Quick note, I will probably be on here later than normal. I'm in St. Louis right now visiting a client where they're CMO, Chief Marketing Officer. And so we've got an event tonight that we're going to. I'll probably be going live around 9 or 9:30 Eastern. So with that, Jason, you said, can I join your exercise? Please do. Take the video and distill. Actually, you know what? Let me actually see. I think I can copy and paste this here in the chat. Oh, let me see. Let me try to do this again. I actually am wondering if I can copy this here and put it in the chat, and then you guys can copy it and save it for yourself. So I think I just did that. I think I just posted that on the platform. So let me know if you want to take this, and then you can use it elsewhere. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy Tuesday, January 13th. And let's